Alexey Valentinovich, first of all about the sanctions. How bad do they influence our economy? They're aiming at the dearest, right? Our oil sector, our financial sector, etc. Well, first of all, I agree that they're very selective. It's such a benchmark of the quality of our industries, those industries that have very good positions at the world markets, that are very advanced in terms of their technology and businesses, they're suffering the most. First of all, that refers to the gas, petrochemicals, defense, and the financial banking sectors. The situation is not very simple because today's world is global in terms of the value chains and labor distributions where everything depends on everybody. Let's say the technologies for our oil and gas sector, all the product positions come from the outside, they're imported, and a lot of other positions are highly reliable of the imports. And our explorations, drilling, and advanced recovery methods from some difficult oil wells such as fracs and horizontal drilling, they fully depend on the imported technologies, and a lot refers to the banking and financial sector such as international payment systems and operational systems and SWIFT. All that depends on the import. So all banking corporations and financial corporations have a lot of challenges today. And today we feel how fragile our world is and how highly we depend on each other, and how any unconscious action can break this symmetry or this harmony of the world, and how that can lead to serious consequences. So today we're facing serious challenges of how to even out the negative effect of these sanctions. You should understand that they are not all affecting us today. We're still drilling for gas, recovering oil and gas. We still have contracts, we still have businesses. But in the future, if we want to develop, that means we'll need new equipment, new technologies, and that is very risky. We need to see how to diversify our import flows. There are some technologies and equipment where the United States are absolute monopoly. But there are some areas where they're not. There are some good technologies coming from the Pacific Oceans or Asian Oceans, and we need to seek those. We need to find some more comfortable conditions for ourselves, maybe established by the customs rates or tariffs for some technology changes, or some component base for the countries that are located in those regions that are still friendly to us and that are still operating in friendly conditions. So you mean that we have a certain list of actions or action plan that we're planning something in order to somehow respond to those challenges that we have today? Exactly. First of all, some of those challenges have been always existing, but now we feel them the most. Let's see, we're developing our cooperation with the countries of China, Japan, Korea, and Asian countries, and not so much because of the sanctions. Sanctions pushed us in that direction. You know, as we say, before you hear the thunder, you won't make a cross sign. Same as this saying, we hear this thunder and we're taking certain evident decisions that we haven't seen before and haven't taken before. Let's say we have a trade flow with the European Union that exceeds $400 billion, while the trade flow with Korea, Asian countries, all 10 of them, and Japan and other fastly developing countries altogether make only less than $150 billion, which is a very weird disbalance that shows not a very high quality of our economic activity that I'm actually responsible for. And we just took those decisions that we should have taken before. And these sanctions help us to take some good decisions, right decisions. However, there are some situations where taking right decisions is difficult, such as import placing, for example. Let's say we're placing certain goods, such as cars or sewing machines. That means that this product has been technologically developed, and we have made those investment, so that means we already bought those products and we have the flow of those goods, and so we're making this investment and we'll make an enterprise and we'll manufacture certain goods. So we will have to establish our own manufacturing chains that will serve to our competitors, that will take extra steps during that time frame. So we don't need to repeat the same structures that attract sanctions. We need to move forward. We need to establish better technologies and not just repeat the trade structure. And of course, we need to respond to our sanctions in a very cautious and very smart way. Let's see. We need to respond to the sanctions not to hurt someone, but in order to not to hurt ourselves, not to feel the pain. We used to say that we do something because of the to be like someone, but we do it actually to please ourselves, and we need to establish new trade flows not to hurt someone but to make ourselves comfortable. We need to help our own manufacturers and we need to help our own consumers to survive in this difficult situation and maybe even gain somewhat. And from the other hand, do you think that our overseas and European, so to speak, counterpartners will make new sanctions? Maybe they will feel that we're targeting at them. Well, actually, I really don't care where they'll find that we do that as counter sanctions. We need to survive and we need to save our fins. And we don't do that for our overseas partners or for our European partners. So we are going to become stronger or we won't become stronger. Unfortunately, the world history doesn't know a lot of positive examples of the countries that choose import placing and will choose a protectionist policy and will choose catching up with someone and lose their own positions. Such as in Argentina, for example, 70 years ago was a country that was quite developed, even on a European level. It was like an average European country in terms of their economic development. Then they started replacing their imports, trying to get away from imports, and today this country is behind a lot of European countries. They have a lot of financial issues and so on. So it's not a fate. It's not something, okay, since you are going to reduce your imports, you're doomed and gloomed. No, of course not, but we need to look at different technologies. We need to try not to repeat the trade structure of our competitors and not try to counter sanction the sanctions that were imposed against us. We just need to establish better conditions for ourselves. Well, maybe I'll repeat myself again, or maybe something that you already iterated before, but some people say that sanctions is just a bravado for us. Okay, we'll get off our oil dependence, we'll go for better development, so on. But the other people say, but we just haven't really understood that we are being thrown back a decade ago. What's the true situation? Both are right. It's like yin and yang. There is black and white in it. It's like our oil curse. Well, is oil good or bad? Is oil good or evil? That depends. We know that for Norway, it's good, and for the others, it's evil. Well, maybe for Nigeria, it's evil. And the oil is something that we need to understand what we do with it. Same with the reducing imports. Of course, we have not really understood and felt all the consequences of our sanctions. That will take time. We're trying to understand what's going to happen. We're trying to understand the technological issues that are facing us. Let's say in the banking sector, we're discussing with my colleagues that work in this industry all the issues that have to do with international payment systems, with the operational systems, and correspondent accounts and assets and so on and so forth. And of course, we see more and more issues that maybe something we knew a month ago just came to understanding what to do with this or how badly it hurts us. Same refers to other sectors that have been affected by the sanctions. From the other hand, it's a serious challenge And I do believe into Thornberry theory about challenges. A challenge can be a motivation for further civilizations, but however, a challenge should exist, but it shouldn't be too strong or too weak. If it's too weak, then it's too comfortable, and it's like when you have bananas falling right on you and you're not developing at all. And when it's too strong, that you are using all your own strength to protect yourself and you're not developing again. So challenges should be of medium strength that could help you to actualize yourself, but not spend all your efforts to recover from the challenge, but you have some room for development. So we need to find some golden medium for that. It's very difficult, so we are establishing plans for reducing imports and how to replace our imports. Of course, the most self-evident thing is agriculture. We are capable to fully supply ourselves with agricultural products, and we can even export some. We do export some, well, maybe 20-25%. When we have crops, when we don't export anything. But we do have exporting opportunities, and we should make some investments, some wise investments to develop this industry. But in some other industries, well, there are no evident decisions. So we should take a very cautious approach and shouldn't get too emotional. We need to take wise steps. The president assigned to go towards real sector economy and make changes there. Is it real, or what can stand in the way? I heard about that, but our economic development and economic growth today is really behind our potential. Basically, we have some negative growth and growth gap where we have some potential growth, which is about 1.3%, but in fact we have only 0.5%. So we have a big gap here, about 2.5%, that we, with our forecasts, should achieve by 2017. For that, we need to first make smart investments. Today, we have good capacity, and we historically have low unemployment. We don't have free resources that we can use without adding investments. So we need investments, but investors are such scaredy cats who don't like uncertainties. And sanction regimes that our European and American partners are basically sending a signal that don't go there as an official segment. But we also take a lot of steps to scare our investors by talking about new taxes, by talking about defined contributions, pension systems, and growing rates. All that scares investors, but we need to attract investors. And in this situation, when sanction regime creates problems, we need to appeal investors. We need to create more comfortable conditions with our laws and our tax policies, our budget policies, and so on and so forth. This is very important. We also need to do our own investments, domestic investments, but we don't have a good budget structure. Unfortunately, every year we have a lot of non-productive costs in our budgets, such as for defense, law enforcement, environment. They're of course very important investments and costs, but they don't give any profits, while they cost for economic development and human resources. It's the development of the future, such as human resources and education. Those are behind. And we have decreased them 3 times. That means that we don't have a lot of maneuvering space in order to use our budget to help our economy. However, we need to somehow squeeze everything out of our budget in order to enhance our budget structure and send more money towards our infrastructure and our human resources. We have the foundation national wealth, and we have that very defined contributions pension system that we're trying to, well, probe, I would say. But it's surviving, and they keep investing. So we need to use all those means. We have some partners that keep cooperation, ASEAN, BRIC countries, that will have investment funds together, and that we are cooperating in this aspect. And I would say that's the most important thing today. Plus, we need to help our private sector to survive and to prosper.